Now you have to understand now, as Kevelutazi, what is capitalism through socialism as an economic system. It's fine, I'll move there. So, we have explained thoroughly on our last engagement that okay, fine. We are going to explain the challenges faced by young people. We explained the challenges faced by young people and we questioned our freedom in this democratic state that we are living in. So today we are going to explain thorough things. As young people, we must understand our economic system, our political economic system that allows us to understand politics. Politics is not wearing a t-shirt. Politics is not parliament. Politics is not voting. Politics is not your mayor, it's not your council. It's bigger than that. It's broader. Politics is what defines us as today. Politics is the influence of how people live. But once again, that is not an issue. Today we are going to explain thorough things. We are going to explain what is capitalism through socialism. Many of you may want to try to understand what runs our world today. There is only two economic systems that run our world today that exist. It is capitalism and it is socialism. It is capitalism and it is socialism. Those are economic systems that run our world today. But now we focus on a specific country. Once again, that is not the issue. So what is capitalism through socialism? For an example, we are going to educate now. You must know, there is no time. We are moving. There's no time. Take politics is t-shirts. It cannot be. So now as we understand thoroughly, I'm gonna make an example for you. Now, in this country that we are living in, the world, but we're focusing on the country. In this country that we are living in, we have resources. We have a system. We have what we call under economics. We have what we call is natural resources, right? Those are natural. Those are like natural resources. But once again, that is not an issue. We have natural resources and we have what you call the equipment, what you call the raw materials, the trees, the people, the nature, whatsoever, whatever that you want to call it at this particular time. Those that you have. And then what do you have on those resources? Those are the resources that, number one, for an example, we will make a thoroughly example of distribution, production, as you say. That we want to produce, say, let's say we want to produce a chair. Let's say we want to produce a chair, right? But before you produce a chair, you're gonna need, for an example, a chair is made out of wood. You're gonna need wood. You're gonna need trees. You're gonna need hammers. You're gonna need that and that to produce a chair, right? But first, before you actually produce a chair, there are people that are involved in that creation. Those are workers at this particular time. Once again, that is not an issue. We are moving. So now as we focus on the natural resources and those, what you call amahamula, the pikiri, and the steel, right? Which those tools were created by people, right? They were created by people. But seemingly those tools were left for us to use. Now everyone can use a hamula, everyone can use a pikiri. Right? Yes. And then we have those ones such as the tree, right? The tree was given by us, by nature. We have the tree. It's for everyone to use, right? And then In those natural resources, you underline natural resources, which are raw materials to make a chair. Those what you call glue stick, steel, a grinder, all of those things, you understand? And then when you have those resources, you need people who are going to create the chair. You need people who are going to create the chair. As those people create the chair, now we call those people workers. You understand? You're going to need workers. As you're going to need workers to create a chair. So, seemingly, there are people who own the harmony, right? Who own the natural resources, who own this whole equipment to create a chair. And that person is not many people, is one person, because capitalism, it is the privatization of wealth and resources given to private people. Capitalism says that the land belongs to private people. That is capitalism. So now, as those resources will be owned by one person, that person is called private, right? It's going to be owned by a private individual. Let's say a company, right? A company, maybe let's say Anglo-American chair makers. Yeah, understand? Anglo-American chair makers. And that is a company owned by one person. And then that person who's going to give resources, we say that person gives 50%, right? And then you have the workers who are now going to create the chair. Those workers, they are going to give 50%. And then all of that is equals to 100, right? Fine, is equals to 100. Now, which means in capitalism, they sell, right? They aim for profit. They are people of profit. So now what happens is that in that 50, let's say per se, the company and the workers were able to produce 50-50 and the output was 100, right? And now you have to pay, the company has to get its 50% back, right? And the people must get their 50% back. That is the aim, because we all gave 50-50. Now what happens in this one is that from the 50, from the 100, the company itself is going to take 50. And then when is after taking 50, then after taking 50, the company is going to take another 30. That is called profit, right? 30. So from now we are left with 20. The 20 now has to go to the workers, whom the workers gave 50, and then now they get 20 in return. They no longer get 50. So now you can see from that example that I just depicted, what is capitalism. So what happens from this point of view, the employer, which is the employer, let's say the company is the employer. The employer now gets what you call 80%. They get 80%, right? Which means they got 50 and they got another 30, which was supposed to go to the workers, but it did not go. So the workers get 20. So now the workers are not paid fairly by the company. That is why it exists even today. But workers are not paid fairly and they work for hours, I may say. As we move along, now the employer is going to do what we call is going to be corrupt. Is going to take that 30, and then after that 30, they don't even pay 20 to the worker. They pay 15. So which means now they have 85. They are moving. No one can stop them practically. When they have 85, now the workers get 15. That's when workers get peanuts. They are paid less and they work more. Now, you picture yourself now as a university student, say you are going to get a job and the job must pay you fair. It is a lie. Not in the capitalist system. Now, what socialism aims to do, socialism aims to address what capitalism is. Capitalism is the mother of socialism. There is no socialism without capitalism. You understand what I'm saying? Capitalism says that the workers must get 50. And when they get 50, the workers must be paid fairly with the work that they've put in fairly, so that everyone lives fairly. You cannot work at ShopRite, produce food and work for the food, but at the end of the day, you are not paid fairly. And worst part, you can't even afford the food that you produce. Many of our people have been digging the gold, but they cannot afford the gold that they dig. That is capitalism. So we'll explain further what is capitalism under serious conditions. We're moving. No one can stop us. As a politician, we must and young people, where we're moving.